I was watching these guys going through Hell Week, class 224, and these guys ringing the bell, quitting, dropping their helmet down, rolling out. A lot of guys just leaving. And it made me reflect on my fears, my insecurities. And I saw real men, what I thought were real men who were staying, who were overcoming adversity, who were overcoming all these different things that I had blamed so many fucking people in my life, my dad, my mom for not being there. Everybody was to blame. My learning disability, my skin color, everything. And so I sat there for a while and I was like, no one's gonna fucking come to help me. No one's gonna fucking come to help me. It's fucking me against me, period. So I had to man up and I said, the first thing I gotta start doing is facing every fucking fear I have. No matter what the fuck it is, man. I had two options. To either be that 300-pound guy who sprayed for cockroaches and made $1,000 a month, or I can totally just sack it up and fail and fail and fail until I succeed. So my first run, when I decided to lose the weight, I was, like I said, 297. I was about 32% body fat. And my idea was to run 4 miles for my first run. I didn't know how bad it's gonna fucking hurt me. I used to run before I was fat, and I was like, fuck it, I can do this. I ran a 1/4 mile and walked home. I walked home and sat on my couch and cried. I went to my mom's house, who was about 20 minutes down the road, and cried again in her couch, saying, man, I can't fucking do this shit. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I just got somebody pregnant. My life was just fucked. I was making $1,000 a month. My rent was $810 a month. And my mind just kept fucking with me. And kept fucking, you're not good enough, man. This isn't for you, man. These guys are baddest motherfuckers on the planet Earth. You're not that. And what it was, and it's kind of funny, I was obsessed with Rocky. Rocky 1 in particular. And when I was a kid, I'd come home every day and I watched this fucking show, Rocky. And I would fast forward with the little VHS tapes to round 14. Round 14 fucked me up like nobody's business. Why? When Apollo Creed beat the fucking shit out of Rocky, beat the shit out of him, he kept fighting. He was a dumb fighter, couldn't read, couldn't fuck, that was me. Couldn't read, couldn't write, just punchy, everything about him. And Rocky, he was in the corner, everybody was saying, stay the fuck down. And him getting up, Apollo Creed raised his arms up in the fucking air, turned around, thought he won the fight. He turns around and sees this guy getting up, and it was the face of Apollo Creed that changed my life. The face of Apollo Creed. It was like, just by that motherfucker getting up, not winning, just by him getting the fuck up, Rocky had taken his soul. Had literally taken his soul. His head goes down, he looks at him like, what the fuck are you? I wanted to be that, not Rocky. I wanted to be the guy that people looked at. I don't care if you liked me or didn't like, I don't care. but it said, this motherfucker is gonna keep coming after whatever the fuck is in front of him. I wanted that. I wanted that worse than anything in the world. I kept picturing me falling down and getting up, and every motherfucker that called me nigger, I was dumb. Even myself, I wanted to feel something besides defeat. I wanted to just go the distance. So I tried to get in the reserves. And I called this guy named Steven Saljo, recruiter, up. And he said, hey, come on in. He saw me, put me through the weight standard, all this other stuff. And to get into the class I had to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months. So I was like, fuck that, I can't do that. I grabbed my chocolate milkshake and went back to Ecolab. I'm going back to work, man. This is my life. So in this job, you're looking for cockroaches, looking for rodents and stuff like that. And this next morning, or this next night, I went to work and I hit the mother load of cockroaches. And this restaurant got full of cockroaches and rodents and everything else. And I sat there and I said, this is my life. I said, this is my life. This is it. And I said, this ain't gonna be it for me. So in that restaurant, I quit my job, left my canister in that restaurant, my spray canister, and I went home. And I started working out like somebody. I became the most obsessed person on the planet Earth. And I was basically, I had to invent a guy that didn't exist. I had to invent a guy that can take any pain, any suffering, any kind of judgment, be called nigger, be called whatever the fuck in the world, and be able to stand in the fucking room and say, go fuck yourself. I had to build this callous mind, and I built it through suffering. I built it through downright fucking just crushing myself. If it was raining outside at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning, if it was snowing, the first instinct is don't go out there and do shit. My instinct was, we gotta fucking go out there. Anything that was fucking horrible in my life that I would normally say no, that was inhumane to most people, I had to go do it. And I started callousing my mind at this point in my life. And I lost the weight. And I lost the weight, and I went back to recruiter. I got into that class, and I started realizing through this process that the fucking mind is what you created. And I started opening different doors that I didn't think were even there, that I didn't think even existed. And the more doors I opened up, the more I started realizing that my potential is damn near endless. It changed my whole mindset. So I went from David Goggins and I created Goggins. Started being able to take negative shit and be happy. One of the recruiters said there's not many black Navy SEALs. Matter of fact, I was the 36th African American SEAL in history because the fucking water, you know. I mean, people get mad at me. It's fucking true. Just get over it. And I was like, man, what story would it be if my fucking fat, dumb, lying to be friends with people, insecure ass can overcome this shit? And that what if mentality, that dreamer mentality, just would always fuel me. It would just fuel me, man. What if I can be a SEAL, man? What if I can go from running a quarter of a fucking mile, now I run 205 miles? What if I can go, and how would that feel if I'm graduate at that graduation thing I was talking about, like the video I sat down and watched? This commanding officer stood up and he said to the guys who are graduating buds, like 18 of them, he said, we live in a society where mediocrity is often rewarded. And he went on to say, these men detest mediocrity. And I wanted to be a man that detests mediocrity. It got me in a lot of trouble because I started looking down on people for not going hard as fucking shit. But my whole mind changed.
So you come back, you do the quarter mile,
right?
You walk back home. How do you regroup?
So what I did, I sat down there and I put Rocky in. I got my milkshake, put Rocky. I said, you know what? I was big time in Rocky and Platoon. Why Platoon? I love to see people who were getting beat down. And there's scenes. There's scenes that just drove me. And people in my Hell Weeks, you know, I was in 3 of them. They'd always hear me singing these songs, humming these songs in torturous situations. When everybody's quitting this fucking code, I would be somewhere fucking gone, and somewhere fucking dark as shit. There's a scene in Platoon where when Barnes shoots Elias, and you know they think Elias is dead, and the choppers are taking off, and Charlie Sheen's asking, you know, Tom Berenger, where's Elias? Where's Elias? William Dafoe. Oh, I found him back there dead somewhere. And through the woods, the Viet Cong is chasing Elias through the woods and they're shooting him in his fucking back. And all he wants to do is get to the fucking chopper. He's getting shot in his back, he's getting up, he's getting shot in his back, he's getting up. And you see this guy just fighting. I love the fucking guy who just fucking fights. And so I put these things in as reminders that you're gonna have to fucking suffer, man. This fucking 0.25, man, you're gonna have to fucking suffer. To go from this fat, insecure motherfucker to one of the best guys on the planet Earth, this journey is gonna take something that is gonna be incomprehensible to most people. And these different visualizations, it became so nasty and dirty that I almost liked the fact that I went 0.25. So it became from being defeated to like, man, all right, motherfucker, maybe tomorrow we can go 0.75. You know, it just became this different mindset. I turned negatives into positives. So I would take it like, who would even think about doing this? So I would sit on my couch saying, who at 297, who can't fucking swim that great, who's scared of the fucking water, would have the fucking balls, who had the balls to fucking man up, quit a job, and go and just put everything on himself. So it's how I started talking to myself and put myself in a whole different category, and that would fuel me the next day, and I just kept using that as fuel. No one would do this shit. No one would do this shit. You're the baddest motherfucker around. You're the baddest motherfucker ever lived. I just kept fueling me with the right kind of message that I needed to hear that I was never telling myself. And through time, it became reality.
And then do you start running again the second day?
Yeah, the second day I went right back after it again. But I started realizing I can't run that far. So what I did was I became damn near a professional cyclist with the miles I put on the bike. Whenever I watched TV, I had to be doing something. So I was riding the bike. I rode a bike a lot to lose the first initial kind of weight because my bones were just hurting so bad. My body was just broken. And I tried to swim a lot. I wasn't a great swimmer, but putting fins on kind of equalized my body. I wasn't so negative buoyant. So I started fitting a whole bunch. And I spent hours in the pool, trying to get more and more comfortable. Not because I was going underwater. I was so scared of the water that I had to live in the water. I had to become one with the water. So I went to the pool an awful lot. And then the bike got easier. I was able to run more. I went from like 1 mile. 1 mile was a great accomplishment. 2 miles, and then from 2 to 3 was a big one. Then I went from 3 to 6. And then, like, they have a warning order that they give people to get ready for buds. And the whole thing was running 6 miles 5 days a week. And that was my goal. I failed, I go back to scratch. I use some positive motivation. I have like one day where I'm like fucking defeated. But I started realizing this is part of the process. This is part of the journey. I had to realize this is part of my process versus just saying, like I used to, I'm just not good enough. If I'm not good enough, we always say that shit. I'm just not good enough, and then we try something else. I'm gonna fucking make myself good enough. And that became my mentality. If I had to walk, I had to walk. It just became just a process of grinding and just going further and further. And then when I got through running, I go to the bike, I go to the pool. If I got tired somewhere, my legs were tired, I go to the gym. I'm misunderstood a lot. That's all it came down to. I made myself good enough. Like, I didn't tell you how I got into ultra running. I was about 200 some odd pounds. I didn't run hard at all this time. I was a SEAL, but I was like a bodybuilder. And I did an elliptical trainer 20 minutes on Sunday. That's all I did. Fuck that cardio stuff. I was never about it until this happened. And I was like, man, I gotta find a way to raise money for these families. So I Googled the 10 hardest races in the world. What came up was the Badwater 135. 135-mile run through Death Valley in the summertime. I thought it was a fucking stage race. I didn't know people could run 135 miles at one time. I had no idea.
Right.
So I went to ultra runner. Didn't know what ultra runner was. I called the race director up, Chris Kosman, and he said, "Are you an ultra runner?" And I was like, "I don't know what that is." He goes, "Have you run 100 miles in 24 hours or less?" I was like, "No." But I said, "I'm a Navy SEAL. I was in 3 Hell Weeks. I was a Ranger." I gave him some resume. He didn't give a shit. He said, "I don't care. You got to qualify for my race." And the deadline was up in 2 months for this Badwater race. And basically, he said there's 2 more races you can do to qualify. We select the top 90 athletes in the world, and you're not even an ultra runner. But I like your cause, like what you're doing. He said, I'll call him up on a Wednesday. And he goes, there's a race on Saturday, San Diego one day, where you run around a 1 mile track for 24 hours. That's how many miles you can get. If you get 124 hours, I will consider you in my race. I did the math, 14 some minute mile, fuck it, I can do that. So, show up at the start line of this race. It was the AUA National Championships. it's like the best ultra runners compete against each other to see how many miles you can get in 24 hours. So basically, I start running, and I get to about mile 40, mile 50, and I'm feeling pretty good. I get to mile 70, and it was the worst pain of my life. I sat down in this blue lawn chair at mile 70. The Ritz crackers after mile 20 became Ritz cracker balls because I wasn't hydrating correctly. I didn't know what to do. I was drinking Mileplex for my nutrition because I couldn't eat these Ritz crackers. Had very minimal water, if any at all. And I was just dying. So I sat down in this blue lawn chair. I was watching all these runners go around in this circle. I was all dizzy and lightheaded. And I looked at my ex-wife now, and I was like, I am fucked. I started seeing like 3 of them. And once my body stopped, my mind just went off. I had to go to the bathroom. And the bathroom was like 20 feet away from me, if that. And I couldn't. So I sat there and peed blood down my leg. My feet were broken. I was just in the worst shape. Because once you stop running like that, I hadn't run in almost a year. I was just doing bodybuilding stuff in 20 minutes on the elliptical trainer. I probably ran no shit, no more than 50 miles the whole year. I paid for it. At mile 70, man, it was torturous. With blood down my leg and 30 miles to go. I started reaching the cookie jars, man. I started pulling off all kind of stuff. I reached in my mind, and a lot of us, when we have bad times in life, even the hardest person in the world, we forget how badass we are. I have a thing where I take a couple seconds to reflect on, hang on, man, you've been through this, you've been through that, you overcame this, overcame that. I don't ever close my mind to the fact that this can be done. And I knew I had to get up, I needed nutrition, I needed hydration, I needed to stop being dizzy. So that's the first thing I did. I didn't panic on I had 30 more miles to go to get 100. I started about the process. Slowly but surely I was able to stand up, and I was literally hobbling around this track, just walking. No running at all. I couldn't run. My feet were in the worst pain. This is the worst pain I've been in my entire life. Nothing in any training is even comparable to this last 30 miles. And what happened was, my ex-wife looked at me and she's like, man, we agreed I'm not gonna make the time. I was going way too slow. And at that time, at mile 81, something clicked that I'll never probably be able to do again, when my mind, body, spirit, soul, everything just connected. And my mind knew I wasn't fucking around anymore. It knew I wasn't gonna quit. It knew that guy was dead and buried and gone. And I was gonna die out here on this fucking one-mile, for whatever reason why, I was gonna get through this motherfucker. I didn't give a damn. It made there was no fucking crowds. There was no trophy at the end. I wasn't even in a race in my mind. It was nothing. It wasn't about nothing. There was no nothing. It was a bunch of people who didn't know who the fuck I was. And it was me against me. And I used all these different dark places to start bringing out light. And just fucking going deeper and deeper. And I ran the next 20 miles. Ran at about a 10:30 pace. And I did 101 miles in 18 hours and 56 minutes. Sat back down in that blue porta potty, now my chair that I got from Walmart. And that's when the body realized I was done. And this great feeling came over me, but also the worst pain in my life. And my wife was freaked out. I couldn't get up, I couldn't stand up. She backed this Camry on the knoll of the grassy area I was at. And we were both lifters at the time, so she was decently strong. I put my arms around her neck. She got me to the back seat of the car, let the windows down because I smelled like horrible shit. And she was terrified. I need to get to the doctor, I need to get to the doctor. So I said, just take me home. So we lived on the second story of this apartment complex in San Diego. I get out of the car and I could stand up, but with my arms around her neck. So I was just leaning down because I was gonna pass out. I got to the first deck, went down. Just couldn't stand up anymore. Got around her neck, worked my way up the railing, walked to the kitchen area, which is right in the front door. I was laying on the poncho liner, crap was everywhere. She helped me manage to get into the tub. And it looked like dirt was coming out of my penis. This looked horrible, this is the grossest thing in the world. It's the worst pain I can ever be in my life. And the craziest thing, I'll tell you a story because right now, I'm not sadistic, I'm not crazy. People may think that. They may want to put a title on me after hearing me because it makes them feel better. Because they think, wow, this guy must be some special or just fucked up crazy dude. No, I'm a guy that came from nothing, and anybody's capable of doing shit like this. And I sat in that tub, she put the water on me, she called my mom up, My mom was dating a doctor at the time. The doctor said, you need to get him to a hospital. She came back in. All I wanted to do was call Chris Costner on the phone, the race director of Badwater, and say I fucking did it. So she said, I'm taking you to the doctor. I said, no, let me sit here and enjoy this pain. She said, what are you talking about? I go, I need to go to the doctor. I realized that. But I never thought it was humanly possible to do what I did. I went 70 miles. And at 70 miles, I was dead. I was at 100%. I went 31 more miles after being in the worst physical shape I've ever been in my life. And all that pain and suffering and thing was going through my fucking body as I sat in that tub and the waters hit me. And it was the most amazing feeling of accomplishment. And I want to be numb. I didn't want people to give me drugs and to numb this fucking pain. I did this. And as crazy as it sounds, it was the most amazing moment of my entire life. Everything's good right now. I'm always waiting for the next thing to pop up, and I handle it the same way. I was attacking. But yeah, at 43 years old, I am in the best shape of my life. I'm not knocking on wood because, fuck it, life comes at you, dude. So, fuck knocking on wood, come at me. I hope that this story can change somebody's life. Not to be me, because it ain't about me, and I try to be as real as I can, because we're all fucking suffering in this world, we're all hurting. That's why I have to be so authentic and so real about my own insecurities, my own faults, just being a fucked up person. I'm not the best at anything. I'm not gifted. I'm just driven. And it's all about trying to share that message with people. When I was a SEAL recruiter, I got invited to MIT. Smart ass motherfuckers there, man. I'm not that. And there was this guy there, I forget his name, but he was like the top head guy. And we were on this panel. And they were asking us all these questions about the mind, mental toughness and shit. And I'll never forget, he was just answering them off of theory. He never put his fucking ass in shit. You read a bunch of fucking books, and you think that you know how the fucking mind works and shit. But I had lived hell. And when you put yourself in hell, that's the only time you can figure out how the fuck to get through that motherfucker. You can't read somebody else's book about some theory on how to do shit. Some guy who sat up in their nice warm office and wrote some book with a nice cup of coffee in the fucking hand. No, I want to see that guy who immersed himself in fucking hell. And he thought about quitting and leaving it, and his wife and his kids, and why am I here? Is it worth it? All this crazy shit? And found out a way to get through it. So basically that's the bottom line of it all. We all want to read about how we can quickly get somewhere. That's why the 6-minute abs and all sort of shit so powerful. You may get some results from it, but they're not permanent. The permanent result comes from you fucking, I say it all the time, you have to suffer. You have to make that a tattoo on your fucking brain, so when that hard time comes again, you don't forget it. It's those people who are able to control that fucking feeling of fucking flight and say, no, motherfucker, there's a way through this. It's not gonna be here forever. I'm not cold right now. I'm in a nice warm studio with you. You gotta think about that shit. This shit's gonna end. It's gonna end, but we don't know that. We don't think that. At that time, it's gonna last forever. And then you get to sit back on Friday with everybody walking across the grinder, all the 16, 17, 18 guys that graduated Hell Week, and you get to watch these guys victorious. And then you get the chance to think about that. You take that hot, warm shower, first thing that comes to your fucking mind is, why the fuck did I quit? So what keeps me going? I've quit several things. I know what's on the back end of fucking quitting. It's a lifetime of thinking about, why the fuck did I do that? want to be able to look back on my life when I'm all dead and be so fucking proud of myself forever. This is all temporary shit to me. I want to be forever proud of who I was as a man and change who I used to be. The liar, the insecure guy, the guy who can, whatever. If I die now, if I die at 80, if I die at 90, 100, I want to look at myself and say, proud of myself. I'm not driven by the business. I make a very small salary from being retired from the military. That's all I need. I'm a minimalist motherfucker. Give me a backpack, a fucking ground to sleep on, and a pull-up bar, and some running shoes, and I'm fucking straight. I'm a patient dude. I can watch a piece of grass grow for 20 years because I know that this is how you get somewhere in life. And that's all I'm doing right now. It's not about money. It's not about people knowing me. I don't care if you like me. I'm an introvert. So I never want to get on social media. I'm not big on that. I'm big on being with yourself. I believe all these fucking cameras and phones and shit, it takes you away from the most powerful thing in the world, which is your fucking mind. I had to work at all this shit. I didn't have a motherfucker come wake me up at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning. I had no trainer. I didn't have a nutritionist. It was the self-discipline that I had to survive. To not survive, I was weak, to thrive. And like there's a quote that was said, I don't know who said it, but it was a great quote. This guy said, going into combat, out of the 100 men that go into war, 10 shouldn't even fucking be there. 80 of them are just targets. 9 do most of the fighting. 1 is a warrior. And it's a true quote to life. I saw it going through training. I saw it everywhere I went. There's so many people who just show up that shouldn't even fucking be around. I wanted to be part of that 9, and I'm working towards being that 1.